Back on Morning Line, it's our final segment this morning with Professor Thomas Schwartz from over at Vanderbilt talking about the inaugural. And I think we touched bases on the president. We'll hit on that maybe again as we wrap things up, or if we get a few more phone calls. The lines are open if you'd like to join us. We also, I think, have some video from the inaugural festivities, and it's interesting, and there's the U.S. Capitol where it's all going to go down noon today. Talk a little bit about what we can expect today and how this inaugural will be different than any in U.S. history because of COVID and the very small crowd and the fact that they've put out just thousands of flags out there on the mall to represent the crowd that might have been there. Could they have been safely?
Yes, yeah, it's a very different inaugural because of the absence of a large crowd that normally comes in, and there would have been a very large crowd, I think, had COVID not been the deterrent to that. I think I'm most interested to hear the substance of President Biden's inaugural address and the manner in which he delivers it and the ways in which he's going to seek to reach out and to try to unify the country, or at least to bring a modest amount of civility back in to the public realm. So that's kind of what I'm listening for in Biden's inaugural, because I think that is going to be key. There will be some virtual elements, music, parades, other aspects, but this is going to be one of those that we'll remember as, of course, affected by the coronavirus pandemic, and that this changed to a certain extent many of the traditions connected with the inaugural.
It's interesting looking at the video on the screen there. You just think that is where the riot was just a couple of weeks ago. And obviously there wasn't, fortunately, significant damage to what happened there. And they've got it all. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And hopefully, I haven't checked the weather, but it looks like it'll be a nice day today. We have another Joe joining us this morning. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. How you doing, Nick?
Good. What's on your mind?
I'd like to say this. I'm 69 years old, and you made a comment a few minutes ago that just hit me in my heart about how quickly the American people forget. But, I was there when they killed Martin Luther King in Memphis, Tennessee. I remember President John F. Kennedy pointing his finger at Nikita Khrushchev and saying, "Get them missiles out of Cuba." I remember how he dealt with all the rest of them. I remember these things. I remember that the people that I wasn't alive at that time, but I came right after. We lost 600-some thousand men fighting for this country. The things that I'm not going to forget are the greatness of these people. And what I would like to admonish the American people to remember is that we have always been a great country. We didn't just start being a great country. And as far as what that man said, our ex-president, about I'm the greatest thing that ever happened to America, what happened to Patrick Henry, who said, "Give me liberty or give me death"? And you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Hey, listen,
right.
I'm with you, and you make a great point. And we talked about how, presidents can rehab their image. Now, Richard Nixon, Watergate. By comparison, Watergate was bad, and what happened with the break-in and all of that. But by comparison, that to the insurrection, and if you took it to me thinking that the image will be rehabbed and we're going to forget about what happened at the U.S. Capitol, not a chance. His legacy is stained for history, and it will be in the books. The president may do some things. He's always going to have some supporters still out there. But, yeah, I'm not sure, Professor, that when we talk about, as he moves away, can he rehab? I'll be stunned, even though I think they'll be gentlemen, if any of the remaining living presidents want to have anything to do with him. And on the other hand, I'm not sure President Trump cares to have anything to do with them at all. But, there are occasionally gatherings where they all get together for something, a Kennedy Center honor or something like this. And I'm looking forward to see if that occurs, because, all the other remaining living presidents don't care for him at all. And I would imagine he doesn't care for them. But it's just that's unprecedented, because it's an exclusive club. And I always loved it, Republican or Democrat, seeing these former presidents get together and just recognizing what they've done. And they're the only ones that can understand what the other has been through on the planet. And yet I just don't ever see any real conciliation between him and these other living presidents. What do you think?
It's hard to imagine. Stranger things, though, have happened in American history. So I wouldn't completely rule it out. But you're right that on a personal level, Trump has no relationship really with George W. Bush or Barack, and he fractured his relationship with Barack Obama fairly early on, and with Bill Clinton also as well. So I don't, or Jimmy Carter, I don't really foresee it. But you will have occasions, for example, the funerals of ex-presidents where they're invited, or the funerals of dignitaries where all the presidents are invited, where it will be interesting to see if Donald Trump is invited and does attend. But you're right that it seems a little unlikely right now, but stranger things have happened.
As far as what we'll hear from Joe Biden, as we just have a minute left, real quickly, I've heard some say that the speech he's going to give at his inaugural today may be, based on everything this country's been through, from COVID to the presidency and the race and all this, one of the most important political speeches in U.S. history for what it's going to set the stage for. I just wonder if you agree with that, and just wonder how it's going to play out.
I'm not sure. Obviously, there is a sense of crisis that's as great as we've had in the recent past, particularly, say, in the 2009 with Barack Obama in the midst of the financial crisis, or back in 1968 in the midst of the war. Yes, we are at a state of what seems like a great crisis, and what Biden says may have that effect. It'll be interesting. He is not known as a particularly inspiring orator, but he may bring a sense of calm in his language, and that may be how people remember it and see it as the beginning of calming down America and moving away from the intense polarization and settling the country down as we get out of the pandemic and out of the economic turmoil.
Yeah, he says he wants to bring people together, and I certainly hope he does do exactly that. A lot of them are words. All presidents say that when they win, and then you see really how it plays out. I certainly hope as things do play out today, too, it remains safe. We know that the security there is at unprecedented levels, and I suspect things will go off without a hitch. I certainly hope they do, and it's safe and peaceful. Professor, listen, thank you for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it, and I know you, along with all the rest of us, will be at least observing and seeing how this plays out today, and ready to move into a next chapter in this country's great history. You have a good day, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me on the program.
All right, Professor Schwartz, good seeing him, and we'll see him again soon. We'll take a break. We'll come back with a programming note as we wrap things up, and as we look, too, at the church where Joe Biden had some services this morning before he heads his way to the U.S. Capitol as things build up to the inaugural, which, of course, will be covered live on all the news networks later today. So stay with it. Ooh, someone took a tumble there. We'll take a break, be back, wrap things up right after this.